Hey everybody, today's lesson is on the midpoint formula. So first, let's talk about what is a midpoint. Well, a midpoint, and we're going to write that down on this line up here, the midpoint is a point, well, let me say a point. A point that is exactly halfway, right, between two endpoints, period. Okay, that's it. So midpoint is exactly what you think it is. It's the point that's exactly halfway between two endpoints. So the midpoint formula, okay, in words, the coordinates of the midpoint of a segment are the average of the endpoint's x-coordinates and the average of the endpoint's y-coordinates. In other words, here's the formula, okay? In algebra, meaning we're going to write the formula. So you're going to do x sub 1 plus x sub 2 and then divide by 2. So we're taking the average of the x-coordinates and, comma, take the average of the y-coordinates. That's how you get your midpoint. So let's do a couple of examples. So the directions say, it says find the midpoint M of the segment with the given endpoints. So here we have number 1. So we'll let this be x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. So I'm going to add the x coordinates, 3 plus negative 9, then divide by 2. I'm going to add the y coordinates, 8 plus negative 4, then divide by 2. So what's 3 plus negative 9? Negative 6. And what's 8 plus negative 4? That's 4. Keep those parentheses, and then just simplify. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the midpoint, the line that goes through the points 3, 8, and negative 9, negative 4, its midpoint, the point exactly halfway between those two, is negative 3, 2. That's it, y'all. That's really all there is to this. Let's do another one. So here's number 2. I'll label my x and y coordinates. Okay, so I'm going to do 8 plus 2 divided by 2, 14 plus 6 divided by 2. Keep the parentheses. So 8 plus 2 is 10, so I'm doing 10 divided by 2. 14 plus 6 is 20. 20 divided by 2. So that's going to be 5, 10. And that's all there is to this. Okay? That's it. So now you're going to practice. Okay? I want you to do 3 through 10. So pause the video, do 3 through 10, then come back and check, and then we'll do a couple more problems together. All right, everybody, we're going to check over your answers. So you should be able to check the problems 3 through 6. So go ahead and pause the video. Make sure you don't just have answers. Make sure you're actually showing some work here. Great. And then here are 7 through 10. Good job. All right, so hopefully this one's probably been fairly simple for you. Let's go to the next page. So on the next page, we just have 2 problems. Number 11, it says the points P at negative 4, 6, Q at negative 4, negative 3, and R at 8, negative 3 are the vertices of a right triangle. So first we're going to draw the triangle. Then you have to find the midpoint of the hypotenuse of the triangle. So that must mean this is going to be a right triangle because only a right triangle will have a hypotenuse. All right, so P is at negative 4, 6. Let's see. So there's P would be there, and you do need to label the points. Q, it says at negative 4, negative 3. And R is at 8, negative 3. Okay, so we're going to draw in that triangle. and then the hypotenuse. Okay, so we've done that. We did part A. And then B, find the midpoint of the hypotenuse. So we know line PR would be the hypotenuse, right? So we need to find the midpoint for points P, which is at -4, 6, and R, which is at 8, -3. So we're going to do -4 plus 8 divided by 2, and then 6 plus -3 divided by 2. So that's 4 over 2, and then that's 3 over 2. So 2, 1.5. That would be my midpoint here. And I'm actually going to graph that just so we can see where it ends up. So 2, 1.5, 2, 1.5 right here. And we'll call that, did they label it M? No, but I'm going to call it M for midpoint. Does that point look like it's halfway between points P and R? It actually does, okay? So that's great. So it looks like we've done that correctly. All right, and then number 12, it says a circle is drawn on a coordinate plane with the endpoints, with the given endpoints of the diameter. Remember, a diameter goes through the center of a circle and touches two endpoints on the circle. So A, what are the coordinates of the center? Okay, so if I want to know the coordinates of the center, then really I'm just looking at the point that's halfway in the diameter, right? And they've given us the endpoints for the diameter. So I'm going to use the points. I'm going to write them down, -3, 5, and then 4, -3. And I'll use my midpoint formula again. So -3 plus 4 divided by 2. That'll give me the x-coordinate of the midpoint. And then 5 plus -3 divided by 2 gives me the y-coordinate of the midpoint. So that's going to be 1 over 2 and 2 over 2. So 1/2, 2 over 2, or let's write it as a decimal, 0.5, 1. So that's where the center of the circle should be. Let's double check. So if I go to the right 1/2 or halfway and then up 1, which would be here. So we're saying that's the midpoint, or actually let's not put an M there, let's put a C for center. Okay, so the center of the circle would be there. And then it says to find the diameter, find the area, and find the circumference. All right, so the diameter is that whole length. So now we're not doing midpoint. So we need to find the distance between -3, 5 and 4, -3. So we can use our distance formula for that. I'm going to write down those endpoints, -3, 5, 4, -3. All right, so now I'm going to use my distance formula to get the diameter. So remember, we're going to take the difference in the x-coordinates. So that'd be 4 minus -3 quantity squared, plus the difference in the y's, -3 minus 5 quantity squared. Okay, 4 minus -3 is 7, so that's 7 squared. -3 minus 5 is -8, so -8 in parentheses squared. All right, so that's 49 plus 64, quantity squared. So when we do 49 plus 64, we get 113, which is not going to be a perfect square. So if this were a multiple choice problem, we might see it listed as a square root of 113. We can also get an estimate for that though. So that's about 10.6. So I'll highlight both of those because those are both possible answers. All right, find the area. All right, so area of a circle is pi times radius squared. So we're going to do pi times, well, our radius is half the diameter. So if my diameter is about, what did we say, 10.6, then the radius has to be about half that, which is about 5.3. Okay, so this is going to be an estimate of the area. I'm actually going to get my graphing calculator. so that way I can show you what I'm typing. So I am, and you can use Desmos too, but you need to use your pi key. So on my graphing calculator, I don't know if you guys can see this, but the graphing calculator, if you're using it, the pi key is right here with that little up arrow looking thing. It's called a caret key. Right up above it, on my calculator in blue, is the pi symbol. Yours, it might be yellow. It just depends. But in order for me to get that, I'm first going to have to hit the second button to get it. So I'm going to hit second, and then I'm going to hit this button right here. And see, I get the pi symbol. So I'm going to type pi times 5.3. See how I've got that entered in there? Then I'm going to hit the equals. This is what I get, which I will round to the nearest tenth. So what is that? 16.7. So the area is about 16.7 square units. Okay, and then find the circumference. So circumference, we can use pi times diameter, or 2 times pi times radius. Well, I'll do pi times diameter for this one, since I can do pi times, the diameter was the square root of 113, right? Yeah. So this one will actually be a little bit more accurate. Okay, so, and I am going to have to, of course, round. So I'm going to do my pi symbol times, so I got my pi symbol, and then I'm going to do the square root of 113. So my square root symbol, I don't know if you guys can see it, is right here up above the x squared, but it's in blue on mine. Maybe it's in yellow on yours, it depends. So that means I'm going to have to hit the second button to get it. So I'm going to hit second, and then I'm going to hit this button right here. See how I've got the square root sign, and it gives me parentheses. That's fine. So I'm going to type 113, see there, and then I'm going to close my parentheses, which is right here, this button, right here. Okay, so it looks like that. Then I hit enter, and I'll round that to the nearest tenth. So what is that? 33.4. So my circumference is about 33.4 units. It's not in square units because circumference is kind of like perimeter. It's not like area. All right, and so that is actually it for number 12. All right, so we are finished with this lesson. You should have shown your work for all the problems. Most of it was about the midpoint. If you have questions about this lesson, just let me know. I'm happy to address those with you. But for now, you can go ahead and turn in this assignment and then get to work on your independent practice. Good luck.